Hi, good morning or good afternoon, good evening. I'm not sure when you're opening this, but this is Rob with Therapy Consultants. And we're introducing T-Sheets and we're excited to do so. This video will go over some of the very basics of entering your time and submitting your time in T-Sheets. So I do want to thank you in advance for taking the time to look at this video and to really put some time into it to come up to speed on this application. It will be imperative that we are all up to speed in a matter of a couple of pay periods here, because this is linking to the payroll system and to the accounting system. So in order for you all to continue to get paid on the accurate time that you work, and in order for us to bill the school districts accurately on the time you work, everyone will need to come up to speed on this. But I think it's going to be very easy for everybody, and we've really put a lot of thought into it. And so here we go. Very soon you will get an email from us letting you know that soon you will get an email from T-Sheets. When you do get the email from T-Sheets, it will contain a username that the system itself has already generated for you. It will have instructions on creating your own password and then a link to the login page for you to use your password and username to log on to T-Sheets and to start using it. So when you do get access to the login, this is what the login page should look like. You have your username, your password. It should have the company here, and then you'll just put the given username and then the password that you've created, and you will hit that sign in button and you will log in. Now, because I'm an administrator, quite a few more things pop up on my screen than what will pop up on your screen. So let me get those off and just come to the Scratch home screen that I believe what will look most like what you will see on your home screen. Okay. When you log in here, your name should appear up here in this upper right corner, right above the company name. The main thing that we're going to be concerned with on this page is a button over here on the left that's called Time Entries. Do not be confused with My Time Card. My Time Card, it may not show up on your page. I hope it doesn't, because it's a way for you to actually clock in and clock out. And we know that many of you are very, very busy in the mornings, and sometimes it's not so simple to just remember all the time to go ahead and hit the clock in a timely fashion. And then you get gypped out of a couple of minutes or 30 minutes, and then we have to go back and edit, all this other kind of stuff. So what we told T-Sheets we wanted for all of you is just for you guys to have full control of a manual time card entry and submission, so that you can do that at the end of the day, or at the end of the week, or at the end of 2 weeks, or however you want to do it. So on this page, I believe there should just be this button here, not the My Time Card, but if there is, ignore it. We want you to go to Time Entries. You'll hit the button. The Time Entries window pane will come up, and there will be a few things available for you to select. There'll be Time Slider, Manual Time Card, or Timesheet List. Important, important, important. Right here, the only thing we want to deal with is the Manual Time Card. So just click that middle part right there, Manual Time Card. This comes up. I've already done some stuff here. Let me just pause this and go out and delete it real quick, and then we'll come back and fill some of this in. Okay, sorry about that. I was practicing doing some of this, and so I had some stuff in there. Anyway, on your manual time card, the way things should look is you should have your name right over here by user. I don't think you're going to have the switch user button access. I think that's just for the admin, which is myself and Becca. But your name should pop up here. Also, the other thing that we want to be looking at on this time card here is the date range, the weeks, right? So we're going to be mainly doing the time period that we're currently in, or the pay period that we're currently in, which is October 1st to the 15th. And so we can use these arrows to toggle. Well, let's just go ahead and go back to the beginning of the time of the pay period, which is Monday, October 1st. Okay, when you're at this screen, you'll notice that it's just a blank canvas, okay? Well, the first thing we need to do for you to put your time in is we need to find out which school district, you need to note the school district that you work for, the customer. So you'll come over here to the blue hyperlink that says no customer, and you'll click it, and your school district should pop up. Now, we've already linked a lot of the school districts with your profiles, and so it's likely that only one school district, your school district, will come up when you hit no customer. However, if you work at multiple school districts, they will come up. And you'll want to select the district for which you're putting in the time. So let's put in the district. Okay. Now, once you select your district, the first thing that happens is your cursor comes over here to the first day to put time in. However, before we do that, what we want to be mindful of, and we must do this every time, is we have to come down here to service item. It's your name. It'll be a drop down and it'll have several names or just one name. If you're the only therapist that Therapy Consultants has working at that district, then it'll just be your name and you won't have much confusion there. However, if you work at a district where Therapy Consultants might have 6, 7, or 8 therapists there, you might have to select your name amongst a list in the drop down. So you need to be careful that you do select your name and not accidentally slide around and hit someone else's name. So select your name, and then you want to hit the billable designation as yes. Probably it's going to have a yes/no option. You want to hit yes all the time. This is how you get paid, and this is how the districts get billed. So now that we've done that, we can actually come back up in here to this to the day and put in your time. We're not going to put in the gross amount of time like we did on the Excel sheet and then net out from our lunch period. In this field, we're just going to put the total amount of hours for that day that we spent working in therapy or otherwise. Okay, so if it's a 7.5 hour work day and you worked all 7.5 hours, this is where you'll put in your time right there. Okay, now once you've put time into a cell, then you're able to edit the notes field down here. I don't know if you saw that down here, but there's notes. You can just put in notes here. And you can just keep going. You can put all kinds of notes in. It's just as much note taking as you want to participate in. You could do it in this field right here for that day. Now, once you move on to the next day, you'll notice that there's a little identifier here that says there's a note there. Okay? But before we move on to the next day, we want to make sure that we do note our lunch break. Okay? So we're going to come back down here, and under no customer, you'll hit it again. Right under your school district, you want to hit that link again, and you'll pick lunch break, which comes up down there. Most of us work a half-hour lunch. We're going to do decimals again. So if you work 30 minutes, if you took a 30-minute lunch break, it's 0.5. If you took a 15-minute lunch break, it's 0.25. We're on the decimal system on this, just like on the Excel sheet. Okay, now, we want to go ahead and keep on going and putting our time in for the week. Let's say it's Friday, right? And we're putting in our time for the whole week. Well, okay, yeah, Tuesday, I already have my district here, so I just want to go ahead and put down that, yeah, Tuesday I did work 7.5 hours as well. I want to make sure that before I put my time in, though, I want to make sure that I look down that this populated correctly and the billable is yes. You want to make sure your name comes up and that the billable is yes. Okay, you put your time in, and then you put your lunch hour in. And then you're going to come to Wednesday and you think, oh, wait a minute, Wednesday, you know what, I didn't work, but I used my paid time off. Now, not all of you have paid time off. Some of you do have paid time off. If you do, in this system, we have already put the number of hours of paid time off that you do have. Okay? So what you will do if you want to put in paid time off for a particular day, you're going to come down here, down again to one of these blue hyperlinks, and you're not going to pick a district and you're not going to pick lunch break, but you're going to pick PTO, paid time off. Once you select it, right next to the designation of PTO, you're going to have, this is your, paid time off accrual balance. Okay? Now, we didn't do it on Monday because we worked on Monday. So you got to make sure that you come all the way over here to Wednesday and you put in, you took a full day of paid time off, 7.5 hours. Once you put in your time, you'll notice that your accrual automatically updates to this. to what you have left, remaining balance. Okay? You know, and you can, for notes, if you want to put, you know, you could do that if you want. You don't have to, but you can put notes. Okay, so let's finish out the week. You know what? That was my only paid time off. I worked Thursday and Friday. I'm going to click in there. Once again, what am I going to do? I'm going to make sure that service item says my name, and I'm going to make sure that billable says yes before I put time in. So it does. I'm going to put time in there, and I'm going to go to Friday. I'm going to check to see that this populated again. Sure did. 7.5 hours. Okay. I'm looking here. That's my work week. I worked 4 days at 7.5 hours each. Oops, I forgot to account for my lunch hours here, or lunch half hours here. Put those in. Okay, now you'll notice, anytime you start putting anything into this manual time card, the system is going to automatically have this little banner up in red that's not, says, hey, you have some unsaved changes. You better save them. So that's what we do. Before we move on, we're going to save it. And that's all you do to save that time right there, okay? Time is entered. It's not yet submitted, but it's entered. Okay? Now, we're going to go, you've gone home, you've had a great weekend, and you worked the entire next week, and you think, okay, look, I'm going to go back and I'm going to put in my time now for next week. Or, like I said, you could be doing this on a daily basis, as you go, which is fine. Any way you want to do it, you do it. Okay, so first again, what do we have to do here? Find our school district. So we click on No Customer, find our district, click the school district. Now, although the cursor goes over to the first day to put your time in, we first have to come down here, remember, and find our name, because that's our service item, is our name. Lots of things are associated with our name. Our rate that we can charge the district, the amount of money that they're going to pay me on payday, all that good stuff. Okay? Always make sure the billable designation says yes. Okay, I worked 7.5 hours. Now, some of you are like, hey, you know, how can I copy and paste? And I just don't want to do all this manual stuff and everything. And I get that. I get that. And you can do that. We just have to be cautious about one thing. We have to make sure this always populates. So let me show you. If you highlight this and you hit Control-C to copy it, okay, and you click in this next field to paste it, okay, you'll notice down here, right when I click in the field, sometimes it comes up immediately, sometimes it doesn't. You just want to make sure it does. If I click over there, there it popped up. Down there, my name's there, billable's there. I can go ahead and hit Control-V, and I can do that just on down the line, right? So I can hit Control-V all the way on down the line if I've worked all that time. And again, we have to account for the lunch hour, for half hours there. And we could do that, and if you want to copy and paste those, that's even safer, just because there is no designation for work service item or if it's billable or not. So you could just copy paste rapid fire here, and you're fine. We've already gone over the notes, but again, if you needed to make notes, you have to go into that time cell for which you want to make notes, and then you come down here and you make notes. Okay? Now, once again, the system wants us to save changes, so we're going to save them. We have one more day in our pay period, don't we? We do, the 15th. So we need to go to the next week, and we need to put in the 15th. Okay? So, once again, what do we do here? Find our district. The next thing we do, make sure that it's our name that's getting the credit for everything. Service item, Robert Strobel. Find your name. Click yes under billable, always. Now we can put our time in. And now we can go ahead and account for a lunch break on that day. Okay? And we'll save it. Okay. Now, what you have done is you have saved all your time entries, but you haven't submitted it yet. And the way you have to submit time is in chronological order from the first week to the last week. So we have to go back to October 1st, and this is just very simple. Here we are, October 1st. look at your week, you hit submit time. A little screen will come up saying, oh, hey, this says you're checking off, you're marking off that you worked 7.5 hours Monday through Friday and 0 hours Saturday and Sunday for 37.5 hours. That all looks really good. So let's submit it. You'll notice that once you submit it, you'll notice that once you submit it, these icons will lock up, meaning you cannot make any more changes for this week. So then let's go to the next week, and we want to submit our time. We double check if you want. 7.5 hours every day, half-hour lunch. I got notes on Friday. What were those notes? Let's look. Oh yeah, notes. Okay, so that's fine, and then you hit submit time. Once again, it brings up the whole week, making sure you want to check off on all these things. Yes, indeed, I did work 0 hours on the weekend, and I worked all these hours Monday through Friday. So hit submit. Okay, now, here's what we need to remember. This next one, we're going to submit this time. We only worked 1 day out of the week. And you remember how all this stuff locks up for the whole week once you've changed it. Well, we don't want it to lock the whole week up because we're going to work potentially the 16th through the 19th, right? So pay attention. Everybody pay close attention to this, please. We'll hit submit time. We're going to look at this, the end hours, the total hours that we worked that week. Well, we all know we only worked 7.5 hours. So the only box that gets checked is the one that has 7.5 hours in it. All these get unchecked. Now, I'm not sure how exactly it's going to work on yours, but when I check the first one after this one that I want to keep, they all uncheck, which is fine with me. But watch, I'm going to uncheck, and they all uncheck. So it keeps these days unlocked so that I can then put time in when I do work those days. So there's them. I'm going to hit submit. There you go. Look, it locked up these two items for this day only, but guess what? I got all these lines down here where I can put in my districts and lunch breaks for all these days here. Okay, so here we have entered time and we have submitted time, and we thank you for doing so. But now that's not all. Remember, we always have to get a printed and signed timesheet sent in to us because these school districts still require a manual, manually signed timesheet that someone has checked off on the fact that you've done all this work. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Just think of it this way. Always, it's a report. We have to. You're making a report, printing up a report of what you've done for the last pay period. Ignore approvals report and ignore project report. It's going to be called the payroll report. I know it's a little confusing because you haven't gotten paid yet when you're doing this, but just trust me on this. It's payroll report. If you want, you can close out of here. If not, you can leave it open. We'll just leave it open. But here, I'm going to hit payroll report over here. First thing I want to do is I want to find out how I want my report to look. Do I want it by week, by month, or by pay period? Well, I want it by pay period because that's what we just did. And we did the pay period of October 1st through 15th. Okay? You're not going to have to select an employee here because you're just going to be dealing with yourself. But as an admin, I've got to go ahead and pick one, or I could run it for everybody. But let's just do that since I was working under my name there. And I'm going to run a report. Okay, it says I worked 82.5 hours and 75 were regular time. 7.5 were paid time off. You know, it's got all these pie charts and things and everything, and this is great. However, the expanded version of this report in this form isn't that pleasant to look at. I'll show you real quick. It's got a chart here. It's got all this overtime details, which we never ever have overtime. Has your time off breakout, your paid time off, which is okay. This is sort of confusing though, you know, I mean, it's got lunch break and then this and then this. We don't like this that much. So what we prefer that you do, okay, is you just not expand this. When you run your payroll report, select the pay period and yourself, and you run it, and you have this time here, all this looks right. Come to this button right here. Please, please, please. It says open as PDF, and it does. It opens it as a printer-friendly version. You'll get this. A new window opens up, and this is what it looks like. Okay? It has your name, it has the pay period, it has your regular hours, your paid time off, your total hours. It has the district, it has notes if you made them, and there's all kinds of room for notes as you can see. You'll go ahead and print this up and you'll get this signed. So from here, you'll just hit your little print icon. If you're on a laptop or desktop, you know, it'll print up, and then you'll just have that signed and you'll scan that back to us. So we've gone over entering time, submitting time, and printing up the sheet. We really, really appreciate you watching the video. If you have any questions at all, feel free to call us or email us. Also, understand down here, there's a phone number, the 888 number, 836-277-2720. These folks at T-Sheets are super, super helpful. They're great people. They're eager to help. They helped me get up to speed on this very, very quickly. And they're just really good, patient people. And so give them a call if you need any help, or email us if you need any help. Call us if you need any help. But we do want you to get up to speed on this. It's really important that you do, so please take it serious. Do your best to go through this video a couple times, get used to it, get familiar with it, and we look forward to the participation. Okay, everybody, have a great day, and we really appreciate your time with this.